Smack is coming to you live over Skype. We've been needing some raw, old school hard rock swag in our lives, and one group from Finland looks to just looks to do just that, thanks to the sultry vocals of their front woman. She puts the smack in her band, Smackbound. So please help me welcome the Finnish songstress with hard rock galore, Miss Netta Laurenne. How you doing, Netta?
Hi, Brandon. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I guess the first question, obviously, is how are you doing during this crazy time we're in right now?
Well, I'm doing okay. So we're all healthy, and now I think the initial shock is gone from everyone. So things are getting slowly back to normal, and I think I'm now starting to be able to actually work and make something else out of this time that was supposed to be full of gigs and other stuff with music. So now I've started writing songs again and being active again. So it's okay for me. And also the country is slowly opening. We will start to open the restaurants next week in a 30% capacity or so. But either way, we are slowly getting step by step back to a more normal life here in Finland.
Yeah. Over here in California, we're starting to do the same thing. Well, probably more slowly than you guys because, I don't even know how these phases are supposed to be happening because we're technically in a phase two, and I'm like, I don't get these phases to be honest. But at least some things are starting to open now. People can go out and enjoy themselves a little more. As long as we stay safe, I don't think we should have any problems.
Yeah, exactly. We just have to be cautious about and take care of the hygiene and see what happens. If there's going to be a flashback, then we have to react on that, of course. But hopefully, we get to slowly open the world again. But I do think that this will affect uh, us all for a long time and has changed a lot of views on how to do things.
Yeah. And I like to think that out of this, I think we got some future heavy songs, soft songs that will reflect on this period that we were all living in.
Yeah, definitely. I do think that this is. I've heard from a lot of colleagues, songwriters, that the initial shock, and for myself, it was also the same way that you had time to write, but for some reason, everybody was kind of having like there was a block in the mind to not be able to do any kind of artistic work. But I think after this initial shock and the first month, people have been very active in writing and doing all kind of arts, creating stuff. So I think we will have a lot of music in the near future
Oh, I
that
can't
will.
wait. I cannot wait to hear all this new music, and I'm sorry for cutting you off like that.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that also. It will reflect this unusual times that we're living now.
Yeah. Well, speaking of music, you got your band, Smackbound. Tell me, why'd you call yourself Smackbound? Did you originally want to call yourself Smackdown, but Dwayne the Rod Johnson threatened to sue you?
No, no, there was no question about it. We didn't consider SmackDown because that word already exists. we wanted to have, we wanted to create a word that doesn't have a meaning by itself readily, readily for anything except that maybe separately they do have a meaning, but as a one word, it is clean of any preconceptions, and yet it kind of reminds of different things and gives a certain feeling to a person when hearing the name. So we tried to kind of start from a clear table, and this comes from the need of that initially. I'm not going to say which. There was initially another band name that we had, but there was a collision with American trademark. So we had to change the name very early on. So it wasn't no problem because we hadn't released anything, but we got into a bit of a feud with the name. So I wanted to make sure that this time we have a name of our own that no
Well,
one can own.
yeah, you always got to be careful when you name yourself because you can always come across another group that has the same name. They might have copyrighted it beforehand. Like, you remember this old reality show from the early 2000s, Rockstar? They did that
Mm-hmm.
supergroup. They did that supergroup version, Supernova, with Gilby Clarke and Tommy Lee and Jason Newsted.
Yeah.
See, they would call themselves Supernova, but there was a techno group by the same name, and they already copyrighted it, and they threatened to sue. So what the group did is they decided to call themselves Rockstar Supernova, which I
Yeah.
think, was kind of too long. And I mean, I thought they were going to be good, but then when I heard the album, I was kind of disappointed by the way it was produced.
Yeah, true. This was actually a funny thing because the owners of the name wasn't the same, but we had a part of the name, and they were such a big group that even though they are in interior design, they have trademarked everything. So we kind of, it was interesting to find out that we were not. They allowed us to have the band name, but we wouldn't not being able to have any merchandise or anything. So we
And that'd
decided
be
to change.
and that'd be tough to get your name out if you can't have the merch with it.
Exactly. That would have been very difficult. So we decided to change the name, and I made sure that I created a new name, a new word.
Well, there you go. So, how would you describe you guys' sound? Like, what would set you guys apart from the other hard rock and metal acts of today?
Oh, a good question. I don't necessarily compare. I think it's impossible for me to compare, and I'm not competitive that way, that I think about uh, the field in a way that how I believe that we're doing our own stuff, and we differentiate from others because we are different persons, different human beings, and we art is a wonderful thing because it actually always the personas that are doing the art affects the art itself. So if you change people around the songwriting, for example, the result will be different. So I think we have our own unique style, even though we have a very wide genre, or the range. It's a very versatile album that is going to come out, but still I believe that we have our own kind of Smackbound style and sound to it.
Ah, well, and what new music and big genres that you're gonna genre-based sounds you're gonna have on your new record 2020, which comes out this June? Were you why'd you call the album 2020? Are you a big fan of the news show?
And it's actually more about, well, now of course it will be remembered also as kind of a bigger thing that I thought that it would be, because I didn't have a crystal ball about this year becoming
Nobody
so
did.
unusual. Yeah, but it was about 2020 vision. the initial idea of the album's name is 2020 Vision, so it kind of adds up the theme of the whole album of this self-reflection and being able to retrospectively look at yourself and the world, and also look at yourself in the present and hopefully in the future. So it kind of pulls everything together that we're trying to say on this album.
Yeah, definitely. What a list of songs that you have on this record, from Wall of Silence to Run, The Game, and probably my favorite track is the song that you guys just released for the video, Drive Like You Stole It. I love that video. You guys had that synchronized dance scene in some of the parts of it, which I thought was pretty cool. Was there one guy in that group who did not know how to do the right moves, kind of like the Van Halen Hot Potato situation?
All
You know
of the
what,
guys.
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, if you're talking about, did the guys know how to dance?
Yeah.
No way.
Because if you look at the Van Halen video, Hot for Teacher, David, Eddie, and Michael, they knew how to get the moves right. But Alex, the drummer, if you watch him, he is fucking up the guitar.
Yeah. We had the same kind of situation because we want to be able to laugh to ourselves. We don't want to take things too seriously, and we want to break a lot of kind of taboos also, and because it is very common that the metal guys don't dance. So it was important for us to have this humor on the first video, even though we did it like we were serious about it, but we wanted to do something that people don't usually do, and we actually took one dance lesson before the video shoot, and we were all terrible. And we didn't get anything. The timing was off, and we were laughing our asses off because it looked ridiculous. But fortunately, there's good cameraman can solve problems by by the choice of the angles and stuff. So
Yeah,
it ended up good.
You got the right cinematographer, you can achieve anything on video.
Yes, it looks like we somehow get it together at the same time.
Who came up with those dance moves, by the way? Did you come up with them, or did you have a professional choreographer come in?
We had a choreographer working with us, doing some of the moves, and then some of the moves we came up just while filming. So it was like half and half. We had choreographed something on the earlier practice we had, but on the filming day we ended up creating more moves that came from our own minds, and all these ridiculous pyramids and stuff like that I don't know if you know, like Teemu is playing the guitar solo so that he's sitting on us. We've made a human pyramid for him. So so we did all of these crazy stuff just by, it wasn't planned. We just went with the flow.
And some things that weren't planned are usually some of the things that go perfectly right.
Yes. Yes. I'd like to think that in this case it was a success.
All right. When you wrote these songs, which song would you say was the most fun to work on? Your personal opinion.
Which song was the most fun to work on? The most fun might have been maybe Date with the Devil.
Ooh, why so?
If I'm thinking about the writing process, we had a lot of fun with it, and it's rhythmically, it's intensive, and it wasn't easy to write lyrics for because of the rhythmic thing, but that's what made it interesting and fun to work with. Kind of, there was this mood to it that I uh, enjoyed working with. But we had fun with every song, doing every song. I think Wall of Silence came up very fast, and it was very fun to do it. We wrote most of the songs, well, all of them, in a summer cabin because the Finns do that. You know, we packed the car and drove to the woods and stayed there for 3 days in a row always, and locked the doors, and nobody could get out. And drank a little bit of wine and just wrote the songs. And we were having so much fun writing this album, and we had this ultimate freedom, which hopefully you can hear on the album. So we didn't restrict ourselves to thinking that we have to stay inside a certain box. We knew that we were doing metal, but like Drive It Like You Stole It is a bit more hard rock, and you can find different kind of things. Run is more even more groovy than of course Drive It Like You Stole It is groovy as well, but Run has a different kind of groove to it, and there is a very there's many kinds of micro genres inside our album. So it was the overall experience was fun to work with.
Yeah, sounds like it was because the chemistry in that album was amazing.
Thank
Uh,
you. Thank you.
oh, my pleasure. You don't have to thank me because I should be thanking you for creating 2020. It's definitely something I think people will love to hear.
Thanks. I'm really looking forward to it finally getting released. It's been a long, long wait.
Well, the wait is almost over. Just a couple more weeks. Just hang in there.
Yeah. Yes, yes. No need to panic anymore. Now it's
Well,
finally coming out.
yeah. So, a couple more questions. As you know, most of the tours today are being kaput, either rescheduled, canceled, or postponed, what have you, which totally sucks. They've pretty much given up on 2020. So, in terms of Smackbound, are you guys planning on touring heavily next year? And if you are you going to stop by the US?
We truly hope so, that the situation in the world is so that we're able to travel again and tour worldwide. But really, we don't have anything locked down, like no certain plans yet or definite plans yet for next year, because everybody's on their toes now and just kind of waiting to see what's happening. And we really hope that we will be able to tour and do a lot of gigs next year, because this year is kind of lost. We lost all the club gigs and we lost all the summer festivals, and we've been laughing like, is this the case that nobody sees us live, before the second album comes out?
I hear
So
you.
yeah, so we truly hope, because the thing is that we don't know which venues are going to be up and running after all of this. The financial effects of this pandemic has been, we don't know what's going to happen, like how many venues are going to go down, and there is going to be a line of bands trying to get the dates. So we just really hope that we get the dates also. So we have to
Yeah,
wait
so
and see.
yeah, it's all a big scramble now trying to get the right dates for next year. I mean, everybody, like you said, everybody's grabbing and choosing which ones they want to go to. So it's all depending on the right timing for you guys, and how you're going to execute it is the big question as well.
Yeah, it is. We have to wait and see them plan. I think in a few months we know a lot more. We are wiser in that way, and we really hope that we can get to the States ASAP with the band because as we see, it's like the second biggest fan base for Smackbound is in the States. Of course, Finland is the biggest one because we come from here, but you are right there behind us, so it would be very very logical to come there firsthand.
Oh, well, then you're welcome.
Thank you. I'm really looking forward to that.
All right. Uh, I would love to visit Europe again this year. I'd like to visit Europe soon because I wanted to check out some festivals. I was planning to at least once this year, but as you know, this whole thing happened, so it's over. So, and one of my stops I'd like to do is go to Finland. So, from your perspective, is there any bars or hard rock or rock and roll joints that you think I should check out? And if so, what are they?
uh, Talking about bars or festivals, of course, you know that if you come from one festival in Finland in this genre, it's going to be the Tuska Festival in Helsinki. And if you're visiting Helsinki, there's several bars. There's On the Rocks that has a lot of live music and which we've performed a lot in, and gosh, tons of good places and a lot of places that are owned by musicians and band members of Finnish, usually metal bands. So I have to give you a list.
Well, I'll tell you what. If we meet up in the States and I remember to ask you that, you just write down a list for me on a cocktail napkin if you want, and I'll keep it on hand next time I decide to go to Europe.
Yes, that's a plan. Yeah,
I'm in
we'll
I'm in
do
Orange
that.
I'm in Orange County, so you got to come to Anaheim, California.
Okay, that's settled then.
All right, it is
Yeah.
settled. All right, and
uh,
all right, this is my last question to you, and this is a big one. Are you ready, Netta?
yes, I am.
I sure hope so. Growing up and to this day, who did you prefer listening to? The Beatles or the Rolling Stones?
The Rolling Stones.
Mm, I think I fell in love with you.
Good. So the answer was right.
Oh yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the Beatles as much as the next guy. I've
Yeah.
been listening to them a lot during this quarantine. For some reason, it's kept my mind at ease. But why did you
Yeah.
choose the Rolling Stones?
Because I've always been a kind of a freedom fighter, and
And a
I
street
can
fighting
I
woman?
yeah, I'm a freedom fighter, and I get bored easily, and I don't uh like being in conformed states. So for me, Beatles is too perfect, and it doesn't have any danger.
Ah, well, in a sense, you got that right. Because if you look at the history of the Stones, every almost every tour they've done, there's been a brawl, a fight, or unfortunately, a,
Yeah.
a lost life.
Yeah, that's true, but it's also in the music so that it has this element of freedom or something that you don't know what will happen next. And I don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Beatles also. Who wouldn't love? They made incredible music, but for me, I'm a wild child, so it's Rolling Stones for that matter.
You're more like a wild horse.
Yes. Should
if you
I
get
say
it,
Mustang then?
if you get the pun, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
I go with
definitely.
the Stones because I love their rough edges and how they were able to incorporate hard rock and rock and roll with the blues, reggae, R&B, jazz, salsa, whatever music genres out there. They would take it, put their rock and roll flavor on it, and somehow it would sound good.
Exactly.
I
They
mean,
they they were so versatile, and that was the thing, that you didn't know what's coming next, but you knew that it's something great. So there was no kind of safe haven to get bored. There was no chance to get bored because you didn't know what's around the corner.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, my grandfather, who's a pastor today, he actually opened up for the Stones back in the '60s when he was a singer-songwriter.
Really
Yeah.
cool. That's
Funny,
great.
funny little quick story. When he was touring, it was one of those county fair sort of things where you do 3 shows a day. You know what I'm talking about? That's what they did.
Yeah.
Well, he was in Pittsburgh. It was a very hot summer day, and he opened up for the Stones. And the Stones, each show, they went on stage wearing the same clothes, and they're sweating their asses off, as you can imagine. So
Yeah.
my grandfather tells me last show, he's out there looking dapper in a nice clean suit and looking all slick and whatnot, and he leaves the stage, goes backstage, passes the Stones, says hi to them, and he notices that they reek. I mean, they are smelling up the joint. So their manager goes up to them and they say, "Hey guys, we've been having some complaints about you guys' odor or whatever. So could you just change outfits before you head back on that stage for the last show?" They're like, "Oh sure, no problem." So they do it. They hit the stage, and when the lights go on them, everybody knows this, including my grandfather. I kid you not, Netta. They just switched with each other's outfits.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
so
so cool.
they just took what their manager asked them to do and just literally flipped it on him.
Oh, that's an amazing story. That's great.
He didn't say new clothes. He just said change outfits.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Yeah.
So that manager had no one to blame but himself.
Yeah, exactly. That's what musicians have. The one big family is about.
Yeah. And that is about as rock and roll as you could get back then.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's great.
Well, Nita, I gotta tell you, it was such a blast talking to you over Skype. This is actually my 3rd Skype interview, and it actually went right for a change.
Yeah, thank you for this. This was a pleasure.
Yeah, my other two were with the 2 members of Amaranth, Oda and Elise.
Oh, cool. So I'm the third, and third makes the charm. So
Yes, absolutely.
yeah, yes.
And this was a blast talking with you.
You too, and we see each other in Orange County then.
Absolutely. This was Netta Laurenne of Smackbound. Be sure to go get their new album, which hit stores in June 2020. Great stuff on there. Hard rock, heavy metal, and a little bit extra different flavors in there if you're really willing to expand your mind like they did. So Netta, you be safe out there. Maintain your social distance like we're doing right now. And
Yes.
when it's all clear to travel back here, you get to Anaheim, we'll have a drink.
Yes, you bring the napkin, I bring the pen.
You got it. I will make sure to bring the pen.
Yes.
Or do I bring the napkin?
You bring the napkin, I bring the pen.
Okay, there you go. Now we cleared it up.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Netta, be safe, and we look forward to the new album dropping.
Yes, thank you so much. Stay safe. Talk to you soon.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.